So as he just said, GopherJS is a compiler from Go to JavaScript. So you can even write your front-end code in Go, compile it to JavaScript, and it will just run in any browser, maybe except old versions of Internet Explorer. And the reason why I started that project is this chart. You can see, for example, that, OK, first, this chart is like the number of projects on GitHub which have at least 50 stars by language. And you can see, for example, the light blue line here. That's Go, and it's pretty amazing that it's just surpassing all the others. But there's JavaScript at the very top with a huge distance. And you see the axis on the left-hand side is logarithmic. So there's really a huge gap between JavaScript and the next language in terms of popularity. So why is that? Of course, because JavaScript has an unfair advantage. It's the only language that can run in the web browser, and it has no real competition there. So there's kind of a monopoly. There are some other languages like CoffeeScript or Dart which compile to JavaScript, but they were all designed with that in mind. And of course, if someone wants to learn programming, what does he do? Maybe first you install, you try HTML, then CSS, and your first interactivity with JavaScript. So that's why so many people learn JavaScript. But like we love Go, and we use it in the backend because we have choice. And we already tried some other languages and maybe even used them for a long time. But in the end, we chose Go as our current language. And I want to enable that also for front-end code, that you're not forced to use JavaScript, but you can use your favorite language instead. So what's supported when you want to write Go code for front-end, for running it in the browser? Essentially nearly everything, because there's support for all Go packages which don't use special things like pprof, which depends on some runtime features. And of course, you can't access the file system or network layer from the browser, at least not directly, as in Go. But all the other pure Go packages are supported. There's support for 64-bit integers, which you don't have in JavaScript. You only have floats there and nothing else. But GopherJS emulates the 64 integers quite nicely. You have depair, panic, rescue just as normal. Use them just as you would write code for the back end. Same goes with reflection. There's full support for reflection, which means like even the encoding JSON packages and all the other packages that use reflection for the nice things that you love in Go, you can still use them in the front end and have, for example, a JSON protocol, which just uses the same structures in front end and back end, which is pretty cool, I think. And in the end, there is support for Go routines. That was one of the most hardest things to do, but in the end, it worked. JavaScript itself, as you may know, only has one thread and no concurrency at all. But yeah, with some like code rewriting tricks, I kind of enabled it to support Go routines. So you can use channels, you can use mutexes, you can use blocking calls, for example, to get some requests from your backend server. Other nice features of GopherJS that you might find useful when using it. It is optimized for the JavaScript just-in-time compiler. So I did benchmarks, which code that I generate is faster, which does not break the optimization of your web browser. So yeah, the code is pretty fast. And for example, there's a project using GopherJS, which is a 3D engine. So yeah, it's fast enough for that. You have support for source maps. So if you have a panic, you can see the stack trace in your Go source code instead of a JavaScript stack trace, because you don't really want to look into the generated output. You can understand it, but it's not so nice. So it's better to just stay at the Go side of things. You can also use the source map in the JavaScript debugger. So you just use the JavaScript debugger, but you will step through the lines in your Go source code. And there's the JavaScript interoperability package. You can use that to call JavaScript functions, to handle JavaScript objects, and to access the DOM to display something in your browser and do all those nice things. And of course, there are some like additional library packages that use GopherJS that make it easier to do DOM manipulation, because you may not want to like access the JavaScript layer directly. It makes it just easier for you. And what's quite interesting, GopherJS can compile itself. So GopherJS is a compiler from Go to JavaScript written in Go. And after compiling itself, you have a compiler from Go to JavaScript in JavaScript. So it can run in your browser, and that's what the GopherJS playground does. So you can just type in some Go code, it will compile in your browser and run. And since I have some time left, I can show that to you. So here you have like the sample code of the GopherJS playground. You see the usual print line that you know from the normal playground. But here's some call to the JavaScript alert method. JS global is a global scope, and then call alert, and let's run that. And you see the pop-up, hello JavaScript. So that actually just compiled this code in the browser without any backend and run it. Yeah, and let's get back here. So that's it, and that's the Gopher surfing on JavaScript.